Hello, all you fabulous people. This is Jesse, aka Flesh and Budgets, and today we are going to do a Dorinthea deck video from the Goldfoil Commoner event that I ran in Vegas. For those of you who don't know, Dory is a warrior hero with the effect once per turn. When a weapon you control hits, you may attack an additional time with that weapon this turn. You don't use this effect that often since we are a Decimator Great Axe list with minimal go again, but it matters once every few games, so that's why I chose Dory over the other warrior heroes. But if you want to use this shell, feel free to use this shell for a different warrior hero like Olympia. If I figure it out, here's a quick cut to where the deck will be fully laid out, and here is a quick cut for where the various matchup spreads will be. But with that said, the key card for this build is Decimator Great Axe. It is our weapon for 3 pitch and attack for 4, with the effect of the first time this is defended by a non-equipment card each turn, have the base rounded up. So a 3 becomes a 2, 2 becomes a 1, but more importantly a 4 becomes a 2, so your opponent can't cleanly block this with the defense reaction. So since this is more of a numbers-based deck and a control slower deck, the more we swing this axe each game, the more value we will get. For our equipment suite, we are running the Blade Beckoner head, chest, and arms, plus the common warrior king in refraction bolters. Now, refraction bolters is why I chose Dory over the other warriors, because it will allow us to gain on hit. You may destroy refraction bolters. If you do, the attack gets go again. So then paired with Dory, we can attack with the Decimator Great Axe a second time. And then, since this is also a defensive deck, the Blade Beckoner equipment, just being good 2 blocks, is why we are on those for the other slots. In an older iteration of the build, I was on deep blue and ran a greedier, more redline version of the deck. Redline being I only had like 18 blues or something. But you can have hands where your reds clump, and having that deep blue will bail you out to at least tuck a key red card like a red felling or a red scar for a scar, so that late game you can plan for those and still swing your axe this turn for 4. And then, since we do have a lot of blues, in 20 blues overall in the deck, for the wizards / Runeblades, we do have 3 null rune pieces. You just swap these in for the Blade Beckoner pieces, because even into Icelander, threatening the go again if they don't have an ice in their arsenal is nice. Now onto the main portion, the deck. We have 20 blues, 2 yellows, and 22 reds. Arguably yellow felling is better than some of our reds because it blocks for 3, as you can see, and it pumps your axe by 5, and sometimes just sending a big attack for 9 is better than trying to value game, send 7 with some of our 3 for 7s later on. Plus, since it is a yellow, it can pay for the new edition of Siren. I'll get more into that later. But for other warrior cards, in red we are running the red counterpart, that's just a 1 more higher pump, and then Sharpened Steel and Iron Song Response. Pre-hunted and the Blade Beckoner equipment, I preferred Iron Song Response to Sharpened Steel because people were blocking with more cards from hand to prevent taking damage. Post, there are often times where people will just give you their Blade Beckoner equipment when you have an Iron Song Response in Arsenal and an Iron Song Response in hand. And then you don't get any value from your Iron Songs and essentially IP yourself by 1 because they didn't block from a card from hand and they full blocked your axe. So Again, post-hunted, I actually prefer Sharpened Steel because it's just the consistent +3 pump. Yeah, and just be careful with arsenaling and Iron Song response because some of the aggro decks just won't block. And then you just never get the value there. Onto our red generic list that just keeps getting longer and keeps cutting away from the warrior cards that we have because they just keep printing good red generics and or generics in general. We have Arcane Polarity. Feel free to run Oasis here. Oasis is arguably better into the mirror and certain decks like Betsy that are going to just throw big dominated attacks, or Azalea for that same reason. But I'm on Arcane Polarity just because I prefer to play greedier, and that's just it. I'd rather play a 1-card heal 4 than play a 2-card block 4/5. If it happens to line up where you see both Oasises, it's really nice, but rarely does that happen, hence why I'm on Polarity instead of Oasis. Onto our other 0 for 4s, we have Sync, Fate, and Scar for a Scar. Just good generic cards. And then for our 2-card 7s, we have Raging Onslaught, Fendel's Fighting Spirit, Wounded Bull, and then the new addition in Siren. It's 7 value because even though it's just attacking for 6, you heal the one on the end. Plus, it allows us to pitch a yellow felling swing for 2nd cycle. Oftentimes, this deck does get 2 2nd cycle. So that's a great addition there. Plus, Yellow Siren being able to be the unconditional heal after blocking an Ira Kodachi for 2, it way overperformed from what I was thinking. Great addition to the Commoner format to be anti-Ira because I am not a fan of that deck. Now, for going on to our blue base, we have 2 blue Sirens for the same reason that the red Siren's good. It's an unconditional heal. It essentially replaced blue Fendel's Fighting Spirit in my list. Because, yeah, you just take the first Kodachi, block the second Kodachi, heal back the damage from the first Kodachi. I think one of the Ira games I played in just like the Commoner side events throughout the weekend, I ended at like 10 life compared to killing my Ira opponent. So yeah, blue Siren's phenomenal. Blue Battlefront Bastion, same thing. You'll take the first Kodachi, block the second one. Unlike how you heal back from Siren, this one's slightly worse in that it just floats 1 prevention, but it's still good. And then we have 2 blue unmovables to be anti-fatigue / anti just big dominated stuff. There were a lot of Betsy's / thump and pump Terra, or I brought an Azalea list, and I know there were a couple other people on Azalea. And then Bravo also exists in just being a big dominate threat, so blue unmovables help there. Plus into like an Oldhim, it's just a good, I have 1 card that's blocking 6, so I blocked your Sledge for 1 card. Perfect. And then other value cards, we go into blue Felling Swing, same reason that the yellow and red are good, we're just on the rainbow. And then 2 Sharpened Steel, 2 Iron Song, and then our other 2 sources to gain Go Again, we have 2 blue Hit and Run and 2 Engage Swiftblade. Another reason why Siren is so good and why I might consider adding a blue Brutal Assault is Engage Swiftblade now having play. I completely didn't see that line until I was facing an Oldhim, and I attacked with my axe for 5 because of Engage Swiftblade, and then he blocked with an action and Earth reacted. But full blocked out the attack, and then I was able to still swing a red Siren after. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah, no, this is just a phenomenal line. And then if you hit, you could consider just pitching the red Siren for 2nd cycle and attacking with your axe again if you still have Refraction Bolters. But yeah, those are our 2 Go Again sources outside of Refraction Bolters. And then on to the anti-Betsy / overpower stuff, I just have 1 of Biting Blades, Stroke of Foresight and Out for Blood. I was trying to see which one was better. They all just blocked 3 and were blues, and had reaction on there, so they can block Overpower unlike your other action cards. And then the last card to round out our 20 blues, since that was just 3 one-ofs, was put in context. This card way shot past my expectations. A lot of IRAs are on either Nip at the Heels or Lunging Press or what is it? The 1 for 3. I'm blanking on the name. I didn't write this down, but you can just put in context second cycle because you pitch it to your axe, and unlike Guardians that need the higher power like cost stuff to get their value from their blue, we can just honestly have 2 of them and be fine. One might replace an Arcane Polarity in the sideboard, just because it is a blue into the Wizards compared to just a 0 for 4, and now it's a 0 for 3. So yeah, that would be the last like change maybe to the deck. So now for the sideboarding / matchups, I'm just going to go how it's listed in February. Could it be arranged better so I'm not moving stuff around as much? Yes, but we'll just go on how it is top to bottom. So first sideboard option, we have Guardian Pummel / Pump. This is if you know they're on like a Pump and Thump, Terra, Betsy, Bravo, or even like an Azalea, just some way where they're going to dominate attacks at you and or use reactions. The cards you'd leave in your sideboard are our 3 Null Rune pieces, 2 Arcane Polarities, and 2 Wounded Bulls. Then going into our Wizards, simply you'll move your Null Rune in for your Blade Beckoner pieces to come out, and then your Fates will come out for your Wounded Bulls to go in, and then also your Fellings are going to come out for the Polarities to come in. We use our blues for AB3, so Felling is out, just because Icelander will get a disruption window, and it's too resource intensive. On to the Ira / Ninja decks. We are going to start with the Blade Beckoner pieces coming back in, Null Rune going back out, and then we're going to have the Polarities come out, the Fates come back in, and then the Fellings come back in, and only one of the Wounded Bulls is going to come out. And then a blue unmovable is going to come out. This is where I'm debating cutting one of the Polarities for a second put in context. Blue unmovable, I had a game where I lost because I wasn't able to use it early, and then late game I had to overpitch essentially to block a 2 power attack to not die, and then die it again to Kadachi. So, yeah, just have the blue unmovable out so that worst case scenario you only have 1 and the other one's a 3 block. Onto our Runeblades. If you know they're on arcane damage, put Polarity in, and have Scar for a Scar come out. There you're just trading a 0 for 4 for a 0 for 4, and then 1 Blade Beckoner piece will come out for whatever your favorite Null Rune piece is to come in. Also, you'll pull the 1 Wounded Bolt out and put a blue unmovable in. Either way, because Runeblades tend to send 1 tall attack. If it's Briar, they'll send something for 4+. If it's Chain, sometimes their Riftbind is coming in for like 15, so blue unmovable's not wasted. But if you don't know if they have any arcane damage, just don't put in the arcane polarities. Keep your Scar for a Scar in. You'll just use it as a 0 for 4 or a block 2. Finally, we've got our Fatigue Mirror. Just expect warriors to be on the big axe / fatigue. If you see them on like a Dawnblade list or a Hatchets list or a Sabers list, if it's like Kasai, then run the Guardian Pummel / Pump. build, but if not, just have them play my favorite game, which is the Fatigue. We're doing card economy. So Fate Foreseen is 1 card 4, Wounded Bull is 1 card 7. Even though, yes, you need to use a blue to pitch to attack for 7, you're trading your 1 card for probably their 2 cards. So Wounded Bull is better than Fate Foreseen in that regard. And that's it. As always, thanks for listening to the video. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. Hopefully in the next couple of days, I'll have the Oldhim video done in a similar layout to this. Let me know if you don't like this layout. I'll go back to just doing the video over the top. But for simplicity's sake, this seems like it'll work. And yeah, hope y'all have a great time, and thanks.